A friend and I visited the beaches in Toronto to spend the afternoon painting with acrylics. We both started in on drawing the shoreline and then the trees. I used a brownish color to paint the bark of the trees. My friend asked why I was using that color. "Because that is the way it looks," I replied. "Are you sure?" he asked, and then encouraged me to look more attentively, which I did, and discovered that in fact they were gray with a tint of blue. But how did the blue get into the mix? Perhaps the wide river that separated us from the tree is the cause. Or the natural light that shines upon the water somehow affects our perception of the landscape, regardless of the fact that water itself is not blue. This encounter opened my eyes to a new way of seeing, an observation that required the act of letting go of former associations and simply being present to the object. Through personal experience, we come to realize that much of what we think to be real is not always true, as well as that which we think to be true can be far removed from being real. Things in our environment appear to affect other things. In a sense, everything is interrelated and interdependent of each other for its existence. On another level, one might say it is our human perception of phenomena that largely divides reality into separate objects. Anywho, it is not my intention here to manufacture another panacea, or some quick fix solution to help fortify our capitalist wall in hopes of keeping us all warm and safe inside. But I believe my story holds some value that can be carried over to how we choose to deal with loss and separation, grief and sorrow. For instance, if we become fixated on a painful situation, then by consequence, we may get engrossed into that emotional state, and in turn draw upon additional facts and figures in the environment to support our foggy obsession, and thus feed the vicious circle with additional blunders, accidental slip-ups, impulsive behavior, or just downright compulsion. So, if our mental capacity to visualize a problem is our first initial act of falling prey to erroneous thinking and accidents, then maybe we should return to the root of the problem first, and adjust the distorted visualization so as to make it conform to better ideals that allow for well-being instead. So how do we go about applying this theoretical stuff into something practical and useful? Let's create a new picture to represent your personal loss. Notice here that the individual is all slumped over, dressed in black, very sullen and without any color. Look familiar? The cups are tipped over, which means the subject is emotionally dejected or feeling void and empty. He is stuck in one place, and all his reality is permeated by his sorrow. Now then, what can we do to alter this visualization that represents your sense of loss and sorrow? How about we get him to move away from his position? Envision your character walking towards the river to his left. Here at the river's edge, imagine your higher self manifesting into the form of an angel. By looking attentively at this new image, what do you think the deity is trying to convey to you? You may notice that it is wearing an ancient symbol on his forehead, which represents the monad or the sun. We often see the sun in various ways, but its most basic unit we perceive as a ray of light. With this concentrated ray of light of comprehension, perhaps the deity is showing you how to focus your mind on a new task. Immediately below, you visualize the messenger revealing the necessary message. If your cup is empty, then why not fill it back up? The most obvious solution, yes? But not so if you're too busy mulling over your losses. The angel has one foot on the solid ground and the other in the current and flow of the stream. So what in the world could this possibly mean? As we reflect upon the ancient arcana of both hidden and revealed wisdom, it may suddenly become apparent that our higher self maintains balance and equilibrium through the virtue of temperance. Too much of this or too little of that, and before you know it, from under your feet, you lose your grounding mat. Now, the only thing that remains to be seen is what are you going to do to replenish the psychological scene? The obvious is to fill your vessel back up with the nurturing and healing power of the infinite ocean. In other words, envision yourself drawing upon fresh experiences that allow for new relationships. Open your heart to the beauty of it all, and rebuild new modes of processing and understanding the world about you.